Hello buddy, Crow back again with another questions and answers video. Figure I'd do it outside. It's a nice day out and do enough videos inside. I was gonna do it somewhere it was brighter, but neighbors are out washing their cars, so I don't want to seem like an idiot and talking to myself while they're out there washing the car, so I'm up back a little bit further. Before I get to the actual questions and answers part, just kind of want to go over a bunch of stuff that's been going on here. Kind of crazy stuff. Last, I don't know how long, for months and months, we've been having really spotty internet service. And internet would go down, I'd reset the modem, and internet would come back up. Yeah, full speed, then it would drop speed. I actually had one day where the internet was almost non-existent. I was connected but didn't have any speed, and I called Comcast customer service, and they were going to send out a technician for a week, and then the next day my internet was back to normal, so I canceled that appointment. And what was weird is during all this my upload speed never changed. It was only my download speed that was being affected. So last Saturday, it did it again, getting barely any speed at all. And I called, and they were going to send a technician out. It was going to be about a week. So for about a week, my internet had been practically non-existent. So technician comes out yesterday. He looks inside the house. Yeah, everything's normal inside the house. Checks the wire running to my house. And it goes all the way back to where these trees are. And we had to cut down some branches so he could get the ladder up there. He goes up there and he's like, oh, here's the problem. Squirrels chewing on the line. So yeah, my bad internet had been caused by squirrels. So he ran a new line with new thicker cable. It's going to actually be buried underground right now. It's just kind of laying in the yard. But within a couple of weeks it'll be buried. But I'm getting faster speeds than I've ever gotten before. Faster than I'm supposed to be even getting. But yeah, just kind of crazy there. And then, just kind of weird. Again, for the second time this year, unauthorized charges on my bank account. So I've had my card canceled again. I was just over at the bank filling out forms, telling them that, yeah, these charges aren't mine. So yeah, just kind of crazy all around. So yeah, let's get to the questions and answers.
Questions! I need answers!
Hey, I'm kind of filming this at the end of me talking about everything, but I just want to pop this in the beginning of this video so people don't ask the question while they're watching the video. If you do have questions you want to ask me, there's a link below that'll take you to a Google Drive form where you can fill out your question, and I'll get it sent to me, and that's where I read off the questions that I'll answer. On with the video. Alright, now as I did in the last video, I'm not going to put the questions on the screens. The questions will be in the description. So if you're kind of not interested, you kind of guess where I'm not going to put timestamps on there. I kind of want to do this where I can upload it fairly quickly. So this is from the first question. Oh, these are all questions from July, by the way. So I'm going to try and wait a month, do the questions, however long it takes. First question is from Crow. Look out behind you. Oh, so it must be from the tree. What's going on with gaming in Japan? Numbers show that recent years they don't buy as much consoles and games as much as they used to. And each new console, the numbers go lower and lower. Should we be worried about Japanese game companies in the future? No, I'm not worried. There will always be games out there. In fact, right now, I think there's too many games out there. Everybody keeps making these games. There's so many games that, oh, you have to play this, you have to play that. I kind of want there to be less, to be honest. I mean, granted, more selection is good, but, from my perspective, I like to play a little bit of everything. And there's just so many games that I'm missing out on because I want to play other stuff. And by the time I get to that other stuff, it's old news by now. And then there's been hundreds of new games out that I want to play. So, but what's with gaming in Japan? I don't know. I'm guessing that in Japan, it's a little bit different than at least here in the U.S. I can't speak for any other countries. But gathering from what I've seen from people that live in Japan, like Soft Otaku, Luke Morse 1, your living space is rather more limited than it is here for the most part. So they don't really want to clutter their area with, you know, gaming devices and whatnot. Especially since, you know, for us, I could throw something away and not think about it. But over there, you know, you're getting charged for these, you know, maybe bigger items or electronics that you want to toss. So I think that that's one of the reasons why mobile gaming is so big in Japan. I mean, you already have the phone. It's small. You don't have to worry about a set-box console. This might be one of the reasons why Konami thinks that mobile gaming is the future. Maybe it is. I mean, think about it. My phone right now is more powerful than, well, PS1 for sure, PS2 maybe. I don't know. I really didn't think about it. But if you could hook up a controller and hook this up to your TV, which I can do, and actually I could do both of those. You hook up a controller, hook up a, you know, even a wireless connection to your TV, just take care of the, you know, as long as the lag issue is taken care of. Yeah, in the future that could be taken care of. What do you need a console for? I mean, you've got your phone. You have a controller. It's very minimal. You don't have to have a separate set box. Now, me personally, I like physical media. I like consoles in general. That's just me, though. I mean, I think that's going to change in the future, but I'll never change. But there'll always be games, digital, retail, whatever. I mean, all their games that already exist. You know how many games already exist? There's no way you'd ever be able to play them all in a lifetime. So, I'm not worried about it. If people stop making games, I'll still have games to play for the rest of my life. Let's move on to the next question. They didn't leave a name, but have you ever collected Beanie Babies? No, I never collected Beanie Babies. It was funny that I should see this question because my wife has a whole barrel of Beanie Babies she wanted to put on eBay, and I'm like, I don't know if we want to put these on eBay. You're not really interested in the money. It's going to cost like $30 to ship these all together. Why don't we just give them away? And so I'm kind of looking for somebody to give these Beanie Babies away to, possibly my sister. But me personally, I never had a Beanie Baby. Who would win? Okay, this next question from Frisky Dean. Who would win in a fist fight, Crow or Tom? What a ridiculous question. Crow would win in a fist fight. One, his arms are way longer than Tom Servo's. Way longer. And most of the time when you see him in the show, his arms are folded up. Extend them, and they're massively long. Tom Servo, he's got those really little spring hands. Again, it's a moot point because it's really just a show, and most of the times their arms don't even work. So it's just for comical effect when they do work. So, but if they did work, if both of them do work, I mean, possibly Tom could have like a spring-loaded punch, but I think that Crow would still win. His arms are more solid, more stiff, and they're way longer. Let's move on. This next question is from NMFN21. How long did you serve in the armed forces, and which branch was it? What were your duties, and overall, how do you feel about your time in the military? I was actually in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force. Was in there for 4 years, so like the bare minimum, basically. But I was also in the delayed enlistment program and in what they call inactive duty for like another 4 years. So altogether it was 8 years, but only 4 of those years were active duty. My duties, I was a radio technician, but in the unit I was in, what we would really do is travel around to other locations and install equipment. So I basically installed and removed demolished equipment. It was fun. It really was. I got to travel a lot and got made a little bit extra money per diem because I was traveling a lot. How do I feel about my time in the military? I feel I'm a better person for it. Really, you do gain a lot of, I gained a lot of skills from that. I gained a lot confidence really in my abilities to do things. It's also where I learned my soldering skills. So yeah, I'm pretty positive. On top of that, I got the Montgomery GI Bill, which meant my Montgomery GI Bill and my tuition was waived for college. So basically went to college for free, plus had the Montgomery GI Bill, which took care of my housing while I was in college. So basically I treated college like a 3.5-year vacation. So yeah, let's move on. Raining Bose asks, did you ever follow WWF or WCW? Just a tiny little bit. I tried to get into it twice. Once in the late 80s and once in the late 90s, actually. Both times I liked the late 80s era better than the late 90s era. I could not get into the characters they had then. The 80s era is where you had, Hulk Hogan, Bushwhackers. I don't know if that's necessarily late 80s. I just remember it is the 80s sometime. But still, I never really watched it religiously or anything. I just knew who the characters were. And let's leave it at that. So really, no, I can't talk about wrestling because I don't know too much about it. This next question is from HDU74. Was there an arcade game you spent a ton of money on and never beat? I don't know. The arcade games I really spent a ton of money on, I spent a ton of money on them because I knew eventually I could beat them if I put enough money into them. We're talking about like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. Both of them. The first one and the second one, the Simpsons arcade game. Let me think. You know what? I think I put quite a bit of money in Sunset Riders, yet never finished that. I don't know. Other than that, I can't like there were like those sports games like NFL Blitz I used to play, but again, that doesn't really count. Like I'd play maybe one quarter sometimes and not finish the game. I don't know if that counts because you had to put in a new a token every quarter to continue. Same thing with NBA Jam. I might have only played like half a game sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I played, again, a ton of money. Like, I played Kadash a little bit. I wouldn't say I put a ton of money in that. Let's move on. From Dean. How many pets do you have? What are their names? Well, aside from Fish, we have 2 cats. One cat is Spencer. You might have seen him in the beginning of my last Q&A video. He was walking around. And then we have a black cat named Salem. That was the cat my wife got when we started dating. So she actually got that cat right when we started dating. Again, that's a long story. But Spencer we got, he was kind of a rescue animal. And we got him like around Christmas one year. Those 2 cats do not exactly get along together. And it's hilarious when they... it's like they're playing or fighting at the same time. I really can't tell. It's like sometimes when they go at it, it's like a cartoon where the 2 characters start fighting and there's a cloud of dust and you just see body parts flying out of the cloud of dust. That's what it's like when they fight. But then again, they don't fight that much. They tend to ignore one another. But yeah, they really haven't hurt each other or anything. So. Leave it as is. Okay, this one's from Ryan. What are your thoughts on pre-orders? Okay, yeah, there's several different aspects to pre-orders. I find pre-orders acceptable only when you're pre-ordering a physical copy of something and you're not sure if there's exactly going to be enough quantity when it's released. Talking about games that are kind of underground, like if you're ordering a limited edition of a game too, limited quantities as such, things you're not really sure you're going to be able to walk in the store and buy. Games like highly anticipated games like the Batman Arkham games, Call of Duty, I don't know what else. Just AAA games that are advertised like crazy. You don't need to pre-order them unless you're going to get some kind of physical pre-order bonus. because you're gonna be able to, you know, figure out where you want to buy it, and maybe even get a discount on it when the day it release. You're not really sure. But like pre-ordering, I kind of could give a pass on pre-ordering, you know, retail games in general. Just pre-order it, that way you're gonna be the first to get it. Maybe there's a midnight release, and you can pick it up as early as possible. What I absolutely cannot condone is pre-ordering digital content. That is ridiculously retarded. I don't care if you're offended by that word, but pre-ordering digital content is retarded. The fact that they're like, oh, we'll download it to your system before it's released. Well, that's stupid. If it's available on your system and you're just being locked out because of the date, that is stupid. It doesn't make sense. There's no acceptable reason for that. I don't even care if you pre-order, you're gonna get additional downloadable content. That's still stupid. I hate because I don't like digital content. That's exclusive to just people that pre-ordered it. I don't like digital content, day one digital content either, or content that they're planning on releasing digital in the future before the game's even released. They should release the game, and then after the game's released say, oh, we're still working on additional content, we'll release it in the future. Don't announce that stuff before the game's even released, because that makes me think that, oh, well, you've already got this plan, why don't you just wait, include that content with the game? And if you need to charge more for the game, do it. For me, I'd like to have everything. I'd like to be in control of everything. I'd like, even if it's a PC game, well, that's another story. We've kind of moved to the digital realm altogether with PC games. But for console games, I like to have everything on the disc. I don't want to rely on an internet connection to install part of the game or all of the game, because the whole, like I brought up earlier, at the very beginning of this video, my internet was crap for like the past week. I couldn't do anything on the internet whatsoever. And if I had to rely on the internet for my games, then there's a bunch of games that I just wouldn't have been able to play otherwise. So, yeah, let's move on. Day of Daniel asks, do your friends call you Crow? Yes, they do. In fact, my friends didn't even know my real name until I got married and I had to invite them. And then they got the wedding invitation and didn't know who was inviting them. So, yes, for me to have to put my real information online for things like Facebook is really weird to me, because that's not how my friends really know me. Granted, that's how they kind of know me now, because they know my real name now, but still they'll call me Crow. And that's why it's weird to me why people I only know online would call me by my real name, whereas people I know in real life would call me by Crow. So, yeah. And it's kind of funny, because even in the late 90s, late 90s, when everybody was just starting to get online, the thing that everybody always said was, don't give out your real name online. Always use a fake name, whatever. And now Facebook doesn't even allow you to do that. Well, you can use a fake name, but but Facebook kind of says that, oh, if we find out your name is fake, then we can deactivate your account, that kind of thing. So it's kind of silly how there's been this 180-degree change where everybody's like, don't use your real name, and then everybody online is like, use your real name. Like, even my PS4 wanted my real name. I just would not put in my real name. That's ridiculous. My game system doesn't need to know my real name. Okay, next question is from Sunk Dunk. What are your top 5 controllers? Well, I'm gonna limit myself to official controllers. So, we'll say, and this is gonna be tough. I'm gonna say the I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna cheat on this. I'm gonna say the PS4 controller number 1, PS3 controller number 2, PS2 controller number 3. What else is a really good controller? I'll tell you what is not a good controller. One I would definitely not would be at the rock bottom of the list is alongside the Atari 5200 controller. The N64 controller is terrible. It's really terrible. And I feel like the people that say it's great are the people that actually, you know, were growing up with the Nintendo 64. I don't think I've heard anybody outside of people that grew up with the Nintendo 64 and that controller say that the Nintendo 64 controller is great. Because it's not. It's terrible. It's a terrible design. What else is a good controller? I got 2 more to go. Let me think about this. You know, I think some people would say the Genesis controller, but I'm not a big fan of the Genesis controller. Not terrible controller, but again, this might have been one of those things where I didn't have a Genesis growing up. I would actually, a lot of people are like, oh, you could use a Genesis controller on the Atari 2600. Not me. I use an Atari 2600 controller. Yeah, I wouldn't say the Xbox controller either. None of them. None of the Xbox controllers. Alright, I didn't want to go this route, but I'm just going to say for my final 2, the Super Nintendo controller and the NES controller. Since I really can't think of anything else. And I have a modded NES controller that I could use with the Atari 7800 and the Atari 2600, and I use that occasionally. So I'm going to have to say, yeah, the NES controller, that controller's solid. The NES controller might just be biased on my part because I had the NES growing up, the SNES growing up. And the controllers will not as solid as the NES controller, but still solid enough to where I'll put it on the list. So, yeah. Hey everybody, sorry for the abrupt cut, but I was literally almost done with this video, about ready to post it. And I realized I skipped over 2 questions, so I'm just going to answer those right now really quick. This next one is from Teddy. You wear a lot of funny crossover shirts in your videos. Do you have a favorite? Yeah, actually I do, and I actually paid a little bit more for this one than I would have. I can't show it to you now, but maybe if I remember for the next video, I'll wear it. But it's a crossover between Devo and Iron Man. Let me see if I can find a picture of it really quick. Or I did a quick Google search of the image, and this is the image. I actually got it on a red shirt. So it looks very similar to this. Not exactly, but pretty much the same exact idea. I thought that was such an awesome shirt that I bought it. Let's go back. And also, I got that shirt from T-Fury. So T-Fury, let me pop that up here. Has shirts like, I guess, like Fighters Against Angels. So they do a lot of crossover stuff. That just happens to be a shirt for today, and not really not knowing what this is offhand. Sometimes if I don't know offhand, I have to go down to the comments and read what it's supposed to be. It looks like it's something with some anime that I'm not 100% certain of what it is. Normally shirts are $11, but the one I bought was like $18 because it was like a special design, usually in the gallery. I don't know. There's like, let's see here. They got summer sale, I guess. I don't know. Now I'm just clicking on it. This is so stupid. God damn it. I hate that shirt. Yeah, I mean, here's a crossover of Pulp Fiction and Doctor Who. There's the Dark Knight and the Black Knight Rises. That's actually pretty funny. Maybe I should buy that shirt. I like that. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and Joker. Okay, I could go on forever. But, yeah, maybe I'll buy that shirt. That's awesome. Damn it, look what you made me do. Anyway, going back to... oh, was that a 10% thing? Take 10% off your... Oh, nice. Maybe I will buy it. Second question is by nobody. Any NES games you'd consider must-plays? Well, since I'm inside now, let me walk over to the SNES collection and just kind of go through and see if I say any of them are must-plays. Alright, I don't have a light hooked up here, but let's see if any of these I would say are must-plays. Chrono Trigger, yeah. I still haven't beaten Chrono Trigger. I got kind of stuck in... Well, not stuck, but I kind of stopped halfway through the game. I need to continue that. Maybe even start over from the beginning. Contra 3, The Alien War. I'd say that's a must-play. I'm not going to say Donkey Kong Country is a must-play. I think that game's overrated.
Earthbound I wouldn't say is a must play. It's only a must play if you're into RPGs. F-Zero, definitely a must play. Let's see. I'm being pretty picky. Maybe Mega Man X is a must play. You could go on, make your decision between X2 and X3. Those games are super expensive right now at the moment. Pilot Wings, I would say this is a must play. I really enjoyed that game. I'd say it's a must play because it was one of the launch games and it really showed what the Super Nintendo could do right off the bat. Street Fighter 2, those aren't exactly Super Nintendo exclusive games. Super Castlevania 4, definitely a must play. Super Mario All-Stars, must play. I'm going to combine that together with Super Mario World. Super Mario World, Super Mario All-Stars, must plays. Super Mario Kart is a must play. Again, Super Mario RPG is a must play if you're into RPGs, into that sort of thing. Yoshi's Island, I'm on the fence with that one. I'd say if you like Mario World, then Yoshi's Island is a must play, even though it says it's... Here's the thing. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, think it's a sequel to Super Mario World, but it's not really. It was never called Super Mario World in Japan. They just tacked the name on to get people interested in it. Super Metroid, I think, is a must-play. Super Punch-Out, maybe a must-play. I think maybe for a good beat-em-up, Teenage Mutant Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, is a must-play. And I really like Wario's Woods. If you're into puzzle games, I'd say that's a must play as well. Also, Tetris and Dr. Mario. No, that's Tetris Attack. Where's Tetris? Here it is. Tetris and Dr. Mario. That is a must play too if you're into puzzle games. So I'll just say that based on what's in my collection. I don't think I have anything. I don't think I'm really looking for anything else in my collection that I would consider a must play. I don't know. Again, it's a must-play for who? I guess everybody's into different types of games. But if you're going to play emulators, might as well try all those games I mentioned out. All right, back to the video. Back to whatever I was saying in the middle of whatever it was interrupting.
Let's move on. Next question. By the Professor. Why is there no Puma Man reboot yet? Just wait. Maybe if Marvel acquires Puma Man, maybe we'll see Puma Man in the Avengers. Ah, yes, all the powers of the Puma, including flying. Okay, let's move on. Brendan, what's your favorite episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Never watched the show. That show was a show on Nickelodeon in the 90s. And in the 90s, I was already basically in high school and in the military, and I didn't have cable. So, never saw it. This next one is from Riptide Rush. What the songs you play on your Let's Play, the opening song, and the song you use when there is technical trouble or a time skip, did you make them yourself? Yes, I actually made them using Beaterator on the PSP. I tried to make more music off of that, but I'm too impatient to make music. This next question is from Drew. Why are pennies still around? And I know there's a bunch of people out there that don't like pennies and think that pennies should be abolished. I don't know why. I have no problems with pennies. Like, they're made out of. What's funny about the penny is that it costs more than a penny to make a penny. But without the penny, they would say, "Oh, get rid of the penny and round everything to the nearest 5 cents." And I say that's ridiculous. Why would everything need to be rounded up to the nearest 5 cents? That's stupid. That everything end in a 0 or a 5. Just deal with the pennies, okay? Who cares? Really, I'd say that if you're gonna get rid of pennies, you have to get rid of nickels too. That way you could just round everything to the nearest tenth and not have to deal with the 100th spot. Again, we're just gonna get things rounded up to the nearest 10th den instead of just having that penny out there. I don't know why this is such a big issue. If you're going to get rid of pennies, get rid of nickels. That's what I say. Then people will be like, oh, now I have to carry all this change around in my pocket. Let's just get rid of change altogether and round things to the nearest dollar. Then you're getting ripped off even more, because then everything's going to be rounded up to the nearest dollar. Now, granted, in the future, due to inflation and stuff, maybe that is what will happen sometime in the future. But as for now, just keep the penny. Who cares? I mean, I don't really pay for things in cash that much anymore anyway. And I keep all my pennies in a kind of a container. When that fills up, hey, maybe I'll have a couple $100. Who knows? Let's move on. This is from Groovy. Did you see the trailer for Ash vs. Evil Dead? Are you excited? Woo! Yeah, that looks awesome. Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I'm really gonna enjoy the hell out of that show, I think, when it comes out. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's awesome. It's gonna be on Stars, starting on October 31st, Halloween. The only problem is I don't have cable. And if I did have cable, I probably wouldn't have Stars. So I might not get to see it right away, but I will definitely see it. And I already know, it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD. I'm spending my money for that. It looks awesome. This next question is from Thomas Harrison Lord. Hi, Crow111. What are your feelings about Nintendo's next step, please? Should they go wacky and out there or face up to Sony, Microsoft, and Steam directly? If not competing directly with the competition, we've had tablets and motion. So what would be your crazy idea for the next Nintendo home console, please? Keep up the great channel. Thank you. Well, thanks for your comment. Honestly, I would like just to see Nintendo put out a competitively competent system comparable to the PS4 or the Xbox One. I know people will complain and be like, oh, you know, if the system comes out next year and the year after that, they're going to be like, why didn't they release something more powerful? Maybe that's why they're waiting, so the price will drop down and they could actually come out with something more powerful. Guaranteed, whatever they release, people are going to have problems with it. People are going to be like, oh, well, my PC's more powerful. Why did I buy that? But again, I don't care about the gimmicks. I mean, think about the Wii U. I don't like using the game tablet when I play Splatoon. Again, it works when you get to glance at the map and see where you want to go and stuff. Honestly, I don't think they need to do another tablet thing. They don't need to do motion controls. They should just do something straightforward. Just do a decent controller that people like. And I think that's where they'll get the games. If people like the controller, they'll like the system. Again, the specs have to be up to par, but I don't think it's too critical for them to put something out that's like, as long as it could do 1080p. I hate the 1080p 60 frames a second thing, because to me, then you're looking at the wrong aspects of the game. The most important thing about the game is it fun? Is it fun? If the game is fun, then 1080p 60 frames a second won't matter. Now, if you're only playing games if they're 1080p and 60 frames a second, well, whatever. You're allowed to have that kind of judgment, but I just think that something's wrong if you feel like you can't have fun unless the game is 1080p 60 frames a second. That being said, Nintendo system should be able to handle stuff like that if they want to keep the rhubarb down to a minimum when they release the system. I don't think anybody will care if it has motion controls or a tablet in the controller, so long as the system can perform and the controller is very comfortable to use. That's all that's important. That's all I'd like to see. Move on to the next question from Anon. I thought about asking this a week ago, and now I can't remember if I did or not. Why are pennies still around? Yeah, you did ask that, and I already answered it. Next question is from ALH96ALH. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that. Do you remember the first time you ever played pinball, and what was your high score, or maybe your highest score in pinball? I can remember the earliest account of me playing pinball. I don't know if it was exactly the first time or not. When we went camping in this campgrounds, Golden Sands in Upper Michigan, Upper Peninsula, they had kind of on the beach, there was a, I don't know how to describe it, but there was like this, it was almost like a giant garage that you could go in. And they had arcade machines in there. And this is like 80s, 90s. They had arcade machines in this garage. They had pinball machines, pool tables. Again, this was a campground, so it tells you exactly how I camp. But I remember playing old pinball machines like in the 80s there. I can remember that. Now, as for high scores in pinball, you really can't compare one table to another because the scoring's all different. You got some tables where you might only be able to score 100,000 points max. You got some tables in the 90s where it goes up into the millions. A standard score would be in the millions. And then you've got some tables where you could score into the billions and trillions. So you really can't compare table to table. You can only compare similar scores on games individually. And even then, it's iffy because the settings might be different. So the settings have got to be similar as well. So yeah, you really can't say, oh, I got my high score in this game, it beats your high score in that game. It really doesn't work that way. And then there's one last question. It actually was just asked less than half an hour ago. Technically, this is an August question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. So I've never received this question yet. This is from Anon. You live in Chicago, right? What do you think about the new 9% amusement tax on streaming services like Netflix and others? Well, Chicago, I can't remember if that was a Chicago tax or Cook. No, that was specifically a Chicago tax. Technically, I don't live in Chicago. I don't live within the city limits of Chicago. I live in Cook County. I just say I live in Chicago, Chicagoland area. And your definition of the Chicagoland area can vary widely. I mean, I live out in Naperville. I don't live out in Naperville. I work out in Naperville. And that's a good 35-minute, 35-minute drive away from Chicago. If the traffic's good. I think it's like 25 miles away from Chicago about. And they'll say that's Chicagoland. So yeah, it's a whole big huge area. This Netflix tax on streaming services, 9%, they're trying to recoup from places like Blockbuster and stuff. But honestly, the tax won't work. Because how do they know, aside from your address that you insert in when you sign up for Netflix, how do they know you're actually in Chicago or not? You could use somebody else's address. You could say, hey, you could avoid paying that tax. Plus, somebody else brought up a good point, is what if you live in Chicago, and Netflix you could use anywhere. So why would you get charged extra tax just because you live in Chicago and you're using the service somewhere else? They're always looking for money, and they don't want to cut it. They'll cut it from things that need it, like education. But, oh no, we can't cut, pensions or whatnot. We can't reduce our salary. We need money for that. We need to find some other place to get money. I mean, if you think about it, in Chicago, you're already paying almost, I don't know, it was like when I used to live in Chicago, it was like over $100 to put a little sticker on your car. Oh, I live in Chicago. Your Chicago city sticker for your vehicle every year. I mean, right now where I live, it's still like $99. But in Chicago, it's like probably like $120 by now. They're just squeezing money out of you. So, yeah, I don't see. It's so easy to get around paying that. I don't know how they'll enforce it. It's ridiculous. Yeah, let's just say that's all the questions. Hey, look, I ended this at noon. I am hungry. I'm gonna go eat some leftovers in my fridge right now. Thanks everyone for watching. You know what? I almost forgot. If you do have questions, I do have a link of where you can ask questions in the description below. I should have said that at the beginning of the video. In fact, after I film this, I'm gonna cut something in the beginning. So see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.